Welcome back to Season 2 of On the Shelf, the series. Who thought it was going to happen? I didn't, but here we are. Thank you for coming back and joining us. I know it's been a little bit of a break between seasons, but we're both happy to have you here today. And I mean Greg Cochrane. Greg, how are we doing today?
We're doing fantastic in the beautiful sunny state of Florida.
Florida. Excellent. It's about 9 o'clock, I believe, or 8 o'clock actually, right there. And New Year's Eve. This is New Year's Eve, folks. This episode is being taped on New Year's Eve. Say again?
We're going to be ringing in a new decade.
That's it.
Let's hope it's better than the last.
I'll drink to that. So, we are here, Greg, today to talk about your, speaking of decades, decade-spanning collection of fantastical and magical television and movie props, replica props, and paraphernalia, right?
Correct.
Okay. How did we get into this?
Well, I'm 58, and I've been collecting since I was 4 years old. And, it's kind of funny. It's funny how we can remember certain things in our life when it comes to our collectibles. I can't tell you what I had for dinner 3 weeks ago, but I can tell you. I was 4 years old. My mother took my sister and I to Kmart.
Okay.
And she got me, I don't have it with me, so I should have got it in my display cam, the big little cheetah caper from Batman. And it was like 49 cents. And to this day, I still have that. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I went with a friend of mine invited me that I met on Facebook to Denver Comic Con, and they showed me the link that I was able to get the hardback edition of that Cheetah Caper book. Those little tiny hardback comic books. I didn't know it came in hardback. I always thought it was in paperback. So now I have both of them, and that's how it all started. Of course, I remember when I was 4 years old, watching the TV series, and I can remember watching the 66 movie, and I was crying at the end. And my mom comes running, "Oh, honey, what's the matter? What's the matter?" I said, I don't want Batman to quit because, at the end of that movie, Batman says, "Come on, Robin, our job is finished."
Right.
And that's scaling down. And I thought that was going to be the end of the show. And so I still have the 66 T-shirt I had when I was 4.
Really?
And that's all like on a shirt form.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so now Batman being, I'm guessing, is top of the television pyramid for you.
That's where it started.
That's where it started.
That's where it all started.
So where did it go from there?
Well, I just started collecting, this is before the internet, which I know a lot of people can't relate to that. We used to have what was called Toy Shop Magazine, which was like a newspaper. And I used to collect stuff from the Batman TV show, which I still do, and also I Dream of Jeannie, and some of the other. And so, when my wife was alive, just before she passed away, I was getting so frustrated because you get to the point where you just want to keep buying stuff and you just can't find it. Just before the internet, I see, and so she said, "Honey, if you like things from other shows, give Batman and Jeannie a rest.
Okay.
If you like stuff from Lost in Space, or if you like stuff from Gilligan's Island, or whatever, we'll get you stuff from other shows. Diversify your collection."
And so wise words.
That was diversification. That So I gave Batman a rest, and she was right. When I did find something later pertaining to either I Dream of Jeannie or the Batman TV show, particularly, I appreciated it more because I gave it a rest. Like I said, I was set to sell everything.
Really?
And then, of course, through a period of time, when I turned 40, I bought replicas of Adam West, Burt Ward, Yvonne Craig's iconic costumes. Then when I hit 50 is when I bought my replica of the Lost in Space robot, which is right behind me, right over here.
Boom. Look at that. Oof.
He's not talking right now because I don't want to wake up my roommate, but
that's all right.
He says like 45 minutes worth of phrases from season 1.
45 minutes worth of phrases.
From season 1, I've got 2 more CD discs that says phrases from
Holy crap.
But they're a lot campier. Yeah. I like the more serious tone, but I turn them on like once a month.
I would.
But that's how it all started. And now I'm getting, in fact, a year from today, I will actually be officially retired. I'm going to be buying a house.
Awesome
because
sauce.
because I diversified, I have now 37 mannequins of iconic television
37.
costumes,
Holy crap.
and I have something in every room in my 2-bedroom apartment. I even have a Hollywood themed bathroom. I mean, there's
Really?
something in every room in my apartment pertaining to Hollywood. I mean, I have like all the mannequins, and I have all the display cabinets, and over 2,000 Blu-rays and DVDs, and so I diversified, but I have to give things a rest now because I'm getting ready to move, and that's going to be a chore.
Yeah,
So
especially having all that stuff packing is gonna be a nightmare. But the cool thing is though, is that now with the house, you could kind of redo everything and set everything up as to how
that,
you want.
anyone who knows me knows I plan things well in advance.
It's
I've
good.
already got certain sections of the house already planned out, and I'm also having the creme de la creme of my collection, iconic replica props being made right now as we speak that will be ready hopefully around this time next year. When I retire, I can pick them
And
up.
we're gonna get into what those iconic prop replicas are in a little while. But before we do, let's talk about let's do a little show and tell because I always like to have when folks come on
Okay.
um, show a couple items, some of their favorite items from their collection, maybe stories as to how they got them, what it means to them, and stuff like that. So what have you brought
Well,
for the class?
I couldn't get the best pieces because in my display room I can hardly open the door. But I did pull some things out of my home theater, my living room. I don't know if you can see this or not.
Oh, a Wonka Bar, lovely.
And I've had this mic for about almost 25 years, and I haven't had there is a chocolate bar in there, but I haven't. Of course, there's no UPC bar on it,
Right.
but it is from the movie, the wrapper. But I have it sealed in plastic, and even before that, for about 5 years before I did seal it in a Ziploc comic book bag, I had no trouble with bugs.
Yay,
So
that's good.
I would never truly eat this, no matter how hard I would get.
Now let me ask
Um,
you a question. Is that a prop wrapper or is that from the movie?
I don't really know because the story how I got this, this is when I first got my first computer. I was on eBay, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a, I don't want to give out his name because he still might be selling things on eBay,
That's
but
okay.
it was the actor Paris Theman who played the little American boy from Willy Wonka,
Mm-hmm.
the one that gets shrunk down, who always was watching TV a lot,
Mike
and
TV.
he sold that to me. Yeah, Mike TV. He sold that to me, and I also have a golden ticket, a replica,
Really?
and I have it lost. I should have got that instead of the candy bar, but
That's all right.
I had it encased in two plexiglass pieces with real fine screws, and he autographed it to Greg. Best wishes, Mike TV. And ironically, he was one of my favorite kids because I think it's because he was watching TV a lot, and it was just someone I was watching TV a lot too from the '60s up until the
Yeah.
present time.
Yeah,
So
I know he was doing cons when cons were an actual thing. I know he was actually at a couple cons and stuff doing autographs. So I'm sure at some point, I mean, especially if he sold it to you, you would think that it's probably maybe legit or maybe he just printed them out. Either way, it's still really
to
cool that
me,
Mike TV gave you a Wonka bar. Either way.
but to me, it doesn't matter whether it's an original because a replica is sometimes made better to look than it was actually on TV because it's like the ruby slippers. I actually got into an argument with a woman the other day where I work. She said the ruby slippers didn't have bows on them. I said, you need to watch the movie. The ruby slippers did have bows on them, and she was arguing with me. It's just I've been fortunate enough, and that all my replica props and costumes, these people are passionate about whether it be the Heart of the Ocean or the I Dream a Genie bottle or the Greatest American Hero costumes I
Mm-hmm.
have or the Superman stuff that I have. These people are passionate about these particular items, so they know what these items look like sideways, front ways, all different directions. So they're passionate. So
Yeah.
and even though I love the word layaway. I mean, if I was going to buy something from you and I said, Michael, I'll give you $50 a week for 6 months to buy something, you'd be foolish to turn it down.
As long as the payments come in, because some people
Yeah,
like to
and
play games.
I've been
So,
doing this for almost 35 years now.
well, you know.
But I've been blessed with a good job, with a good income, and I get paid every week. And I just layaway is my favorite word. So
So the word of the day is layaway and diversify.
yes, 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 yes.
So what else you got? You actually mentioned the I Dream of Genie bottle. Do you have it there,
I
sir?
have this right here.
Lovely.
Now this is the second season bottle. When the first season bottle, it was called the Gold Leaf design. When Captain Nelson found the bottle originally,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the show from season 2 to season 5 switched to color, they went to this design. And this was actually a gin bean bottle from 1964.
Is it
Painted,
really?
yes. You probably can't see the numbers on the back, but
Oh
right
yeah, a
here,
little bit. Yeah, look at that.
I think they call it the cavity number, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, I have this, and this is one of my prized possessions. If I had to leave it for fire, this would be one of the first things I would grab. Because
Really?
when I was 4, I always wanted an Adam West cowl, a utility belt like Adam had, and a genie bottle, and a flying nun coronet. And little did I know, 50 some years later, I would have those things, and much, much more to my collection. So
Hey, listen, it's always awesome, and I say this all the time, especially on this show. It's so cool that people, it's not a one-track mind, because it's passion, and it's being driven and determined. And people don't get that. When you want something, especially in our, I don't want to say line of work, but our line of collecting and our line of hobby collecting and stuff,
our way of life.
it's true. Yeah, it's true. It is our way of life. When you want something, especially if it's something that is you're able to get, like I talk about it all the time, and it's like a broken record sometimes. I want a Christopher Reeve costume, obviously. I would take a cape. I would take anything at this point. But these suckers go for a lot of money, and that's not really something that is feasible for me. But I've been fortunate enough over the years through some friends and stuff that I've managed to at least obtain some of his autographs, and authentic autographs. Not like the dude who sells them for $10 on eBay and it looks like he did it like this. Like I've been fortunate enough to get at least something of Christopher Reeves, even if it's just his signature. So for you to say, 50 odd years later that you have, obtained an Adam West cowl, a utility belt, and the bottle, I mean, it's really not that far-fetched to think that you would have actually gotten it. Because if anyone, and we'll put the pictures in between, in the show and stuff, but I mean, you've got a lot of stuff, and you're a very driven guy when it comes to getting stuff that you want. You know what I mean?
Well, after my wife passed, I didn't have cable TV for about 14 years, but I did have internet, and I discovered eBay.
Oh boy, the
And
devil.
my first experience with eBay, I didn't realize that I was so, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, passionate. I fell asleep at my computer, and I woke up the next morning, and I went on eBay. I had bid in my sleep, Michael. I had bid on 14 things, and I won about eight of them, and it came to over $500. Well, luckily, I get paid every week, but out of the state of Florida, most people get paid every 2 weeks.
Right.
So my little secret, I shouldn't say this, but when I tell people, well, I won this tonight. Say I won something tonight, I would tell the person, say I would buy something from you. I say, Michael, I'll pay you next week because this week's already been budgeted out. They're okay with that. But, but one of them was like $600. But I've learned over the course of time that, hey, I get real creative with ramen soup, ramen noodle soup, or oatmeal or cereal. But I've learned mainly through this COVID and all that, everything else, the survival has to come before pleasure. But the last time we went to a collectible show here in Orlando, I didn't see that. I don't go to hear autographs, and I don't go to hear the people talk, although I do go, but I go to shop.
Right.
It's funny, when I take a sinful amount of money, a couple $1,000s, I can't find crap. When I take maybe a couple $100s, I find the most interesting and the best stuff when I take less money than when I take a lot of money.
So what would be, all right, so let me ask you then, what would be like the most interesting thing that you found with the Fistful of Dollars?
Hey, when The last show I went to was about maybe 6 years ago. We were actually maybe within yards of walking out the main display area.
Uh-huh.
And I had maybe had a little tiny, it was like a little plastic PVC of Bart Simpson addressed as Bartman. Well, excuse me, I was so upset I didn't find anything.
Yeah.
We was walking out, and something told me to turn around and look back, and I turned around and looked down. There was an autograph 11 by 17, one of those miniature movie posters of Willy Wonka autographed with a COA by Gene Wilder, and it was like $15. Michael, I had to have it.
$15. Wow.
That was back, but this was before he passed away.
Yeah.
So of course, other things I've found other shows, different things like the Superman Nick at Night TV Land play. I have one, but I wanted to get another one, particularly after George Reeves. I got mine before George Reeves passed away, but when he passed away, I don't buy for investment purpose. I buy for pleasure.
Right.
And I'll spend $2,000 or $3,000 on an item, Michael. But when I get my electric bill, if it's over 55, 60,
Now, Greg, I'm going to stop you for a second. Folks, if you'll notice, Greg very effortlessly said Reeves. George Reeves with the S. As a Superman fan, and this is a point of contention with a lot of people, it is Christopher Reeve, George Reeves. So, thank you for getting it correct. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I apologize. Continue.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But, and the guy won like $155 for it. I said, I'll come back later. Well, and that couple hours passed, we went by his booth again. He goes, hey, you still want to buy my Superman plate? I said, I'll give you $55 for it. No, $155. I said, no, I'm sorry. Well, he saw me getting ready to walk out the door. He goes, okay, you can have $55. I said, I'm sorry, I have no more money left. Because he snoozed, he lose. I bought it on something else, and then that's when I found a little doll of it was from Hasbro. It was still sealed in the original packaging of Sally Field as a Flying Nun.
Yeah.
From 1967, 68. And the guy, some woman had put down $50 on it, and he won like 60. She said she'd be back in like 5 minutes. Well, she never came back. Well, like 2 hours had passed, and I gave him 60. He goes, you know what, Greg? She never came back. You gave me 60. It's yours. So. So
that's it. It's name it. Listen, cons. Anyone who hasn't been to a con, especially, I'm fingers crossed they come back this year. Well, almost this year. Well, if you're watching it, it's this year. But I'm hoping they come back because cons are a very, very special thing to a lot of people. So especially for the shopping and stuff. So I hope it comes back. So now we had spoken earlier in the beginning of the episode about Grail Piece, about something that you were we've talked prior to this about a Grail Piece, something you were really excited about getting, that you were working on. Everyone's got the Grail Piece. Everyone, it's if they had unlimited funds, if they had a time machine and could go back to whenever they wanted, and they could scoop something out before it rotted away or got destroyed or whatever. And I've gotten some really cool answers. And your answer is very interesting. What is your Grail Piece, Greg?
Well, my Grail Piece, it was always a dream of mine, besides the Genie bottle and the Adam West costumes and all that. When I was 4, I remember watching on WGN in Chicago, because I'm originally from Indiana. I watched the George Powell movie, The Time Machine, with Rod Taylor and Sebastian Cabot, and Alan Young played Philby. I was fascinated by that movie, and I've always wanted one of those time machines. Well, if you know anything about the movie, when he pulls out that Tantalus box and he pulls out the little model, he takes Sebastian Cabot's cigar and shapes it, puts it in the little chair. Yep. I have those. I probably should have brought that over.
We'll just put them in. I'm literally right where your hands are right now. I'm going to put the picture right in between your hands.
So, through Facebook, fast forward through time, I met someone who's the world's most authority on that movie. He is now in the process of building me a full-size George Powell time machine.
Woo.
So
Awesome.
to say, well, Greg, what's your biggest Grail piece? I don't mean I'm not bragging, but it's just I really don't have anything really that I have any regrets of not getting, because that's what someone said, Greg, the reason you get frustrated at shows is because you have practically everything you've ever wanted.
Right.
If I don't see it, I'm fine. If I don't know it's out there, fine. But unfortunately, because like whether it be a Hallmark Christmas ornament, or I mean, like this last Christmas, I had to have the Justice League Hall of Justice.
Yep. Got it.
So and there's, I mean, so it's just those are just some of the most. That's just another. That's one of the iconic pieces I'm having made. And if we do a part 2, or if you come down to Florida, you want to sit in a time machine, you're more than welcome to. I mean, so
Now let
I'll
me ask you.
forward.
This is the same time machine. Now I'm not a big fan. Anyone who's spoken to me for more than 10 minutes will know I'm not a big fan of the Big Bang Theory. Um, is this the same time machine that was used in the Big Bang Theory? Like the same?
Yes,
It is the
season
same one.
1, episode 14. I think it's season 1 when the guys all chip in and get that time.
Right. So it's the same one. Now let me ask you: is it the same guy who made that one that did
He
this?
actually helped build that particular one. But this gentleman, he works for the entertainment industry in Burbank, California,
Yeah.
and he's looked at as the most authoritative person on this movie. He's actually made 3 or 4 of them, and he's actually going to also make me a Morlock, a life size
Really?
with the flesh eating.
Right. The
Dwell
mutated. Right. The mutated future of man, or whatever the hell they are.
lived underground that called them
Right.
the Eloi with
Right.
this. He's making me one of those too, and that was an added bonus. I was, and it's funny, I'm not looking for these things, Mike. I just have it. I don't know. I'm sure you could say the same thing. Sometimes you just happen to be at the right place at the right time.
And sometimes it's just knowing the right people. I've had some, and again, using the Book of Faces, I've had some people reach out to me, either through my old business, Cape Justice, or just even people I know who've been like, "Hey, I got this. Are you interested?" And it's a neat world that we're a part of and partake
And
in.
it's ironically, I've been collecting now for 54 years. I mean, when I say it to myself, I never verbally said that out loud until recently to somebody. I thought, wow, that is a long time. But because I've had a real creative living in an apartment, I mean, I've got
Yeah.
it looks cluttered to a lot of people. And some people called me a hoarder. Well, excuse me, I'm not a hoarder. I'm a collector. There's a difference. And besides, you can eat off my floor. You can see my floor. You can get to my bathroom. You can get to my front door. I mean, there's a difference in a hoarding and a collectible. And I work into the wee hours of the night, into the wee hours of the morning, always rearranging things in my display cabinets, making sure that I want that particular item, whether it be a Hallmark ornament or a genie bottle or a costume. It
Yeah.
has to. I want it to be displayed the best way possible.
What would
And
you say is your favorite piece?
oh my gosh,
Aha, I know. But this isn't even the on the shelf question. This is like, all right, let me I'll go a little, I'll come a little bit closer in, I'll reel it in a little bit better.
I condense it.
Would you say that your favorite Batman piece is the cowl, or like the phone? What would you say? Let's start with that. What would be your favorite Batman Adam West's television series piece?
I would say it would have to be. It's like when I was getting the Adam West costume made. He said to me, the man that made it, he goes, "Well, do you want Burt Ward's costume too?" I said, "Well, of course."
Right.
To me, why would you want Adam? Why would you want Batman without Robin? It's like bacon and eggs. I mean, if I had the money, I'd like to get possibly a Margaret Kidder costume replica. Because what's Superman without Lois?
Agreed. Agreed.
Or
You're saying Adam West and Burt Ward's costumes are probably your
yeah,
favorite.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Added that particular TV show. But
Out of that
because
show.
I diversified years ago, I have different favorite pieces. And ironically, and I'll just use this as an example, this past year, by the time this is aired, I got an exact replica of Glinda, the Good Witch of the North's costume.
Really?
And to go next to Dorothy's gingham dress and the ruby slippers. So, I've got something from the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and so on and on up into the present time.
It's awesome.
So, and it's not just TV shows anymore. It's not just pop culture anymore. I mean, I've got Pops. I've got a few Hot Wheels. I've got Hallmark ornaments. I mean, I've got a genre of a lot of different things that
Yeah.
makes welcome to. I'd love to get a doorbell that when you push the button, it plays "Welcome to My World."
I'm sure you could get that. I'm sure in this day and age, you can get whatever the hell you want in a doorbell.
Anybody knows anybody think where I can get that made? Hit me up. I'm on Facebook, everybody.
All right. So now, since I kind of preluded to it a little bit, this is going to be tough for you, bro, because you've got a crap ton of stuff. But if you only had one shelf in your apartment or this new house that you are going to be moving into at some point, and you could only bring with you 3 items. Now, it's a theoretical shelf, so you could put bottles or robots or cowls or Hot Wheels on it. It doesn't matter. What would you say now? And I've gotten crap about this, and I've actually had emails. I've been emailed about this, that this is a trick question for real collectors. But I call BS on that. Everyone has favorite pieces, and it changes. What I ask you right now, and what you answer right now, could change in 2 weeks. Could change tomorrow.
It could change tomorrow.
Right, but right now, what are those 3 items that you would put on that shelf?
Okay, if you count the Batman and Robin and Batgirl costumes as one. And my little tiny time machine in the Tantalus box. And it would have to be my genie bottle.
Yeah, that's fair and equitable. Now,
and
go ahead.
I could go on. I mean, that's just from TV shows.
Right.
You know.
But, and again, if there's a part 2, you might wind up pulling out 3 more. But now, before we get away too far from that, you actually, speaking of genie bottles, you were in something with Barbara Eden, weren't you?
Back about 6 or 7 years ago, the TLC network who brought us Honey Boo Boo, The Hoarding, and My 600-Pound Life, they had a show called My Crazy Obsession. And they contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in displaying my collectibles. Well, of course I said yes. Well, they gave me a phone, and TLC is owned by Sony Entertainment, which is in New York City. And they called me and they asked me all these questions. Well, one out of the blue question they said to me, they said, Greg, if you could meet one celebrity that you have not met yet, who would it be? And of course, without even batting an eye, I said, well, I'd love to meet Barbara Eden. Because I'd already met at that time Adam and Bert and Julie.
Right.
So, you know, it's not, I'm not ditching them. It's just I wanted to meet somebody I never knew I would. Well, then they said, well, we're going to send you, Greg, a little video camera. We want you to showcase just your genie stuff.
Okay.
Well, at that particular time, I didn't have quite as much as I have now, but I showed them. Well, for about 6 or 7 months, I didn't hear back from them. And I was getting really upset because here I opened up my heart to them. I showed them videos of my collection. And I didn't want some stranger in the mist knowing what I had. I don't care if they did live in New York, knowing what I had without. So finally, one day they called me, and they said, Greg, the reason we didn't get back in touch with you because we've been trying to get hold of Barbara Eden, and we want to come and film in October. And they said, we will come and film your collection, and then we will fly you to Kansas City to meet Barbara. In fact, I wrote a book about it. I'll send you a picture of my copy.
Yeah.
And I go, which it was really kind of frustrating because 3 days worth of filming from 6 in the morning to midnight, it got reduced to 11 minutes.
That's kind of how it goes. I hate to be cliched, but that's show business.
It's cliche, but it's actually, in my case, it's actually true. My best moments were on the cutting room floor.
Oh, that sucks. Did they ever give you like the footage and stuff? Did they ever like give you like?
You know, they gave me a copy of the disc of the episode that aired, and I called them back later. I said, "Hey, I said, can I have that copy of all that footage you filmed?" She said, "No, Greg, because that's property of Sony." And I said, "Well, can you answer me one question?" And she said, "Well, yes." And I said, "What happened to all that other footage?" I mean, she said, "Well, Greg, the people from Sony said, Greg, you wasn't obsessive enough. You wasn't crazy enough." I mean, here I'm carrying a full-size mannequin of Genie on an airplane through an
Right.
airport, and I'm not obsessive enough. I have all these costumes on mannequins. At that time, in my other apartment, I was sleeping on the floor for 5 years because my mannequins were in my bedroom. I had a one bedroom at that time, and my display cabinets and all my mannequins and toys and costumes. I didn't have room for a bed, and I didn't even
Wow.
have room for I didn't. My couch was a theater seating couch. It wasn't a hideaway bed, so I
Right.
slept on the floor for 5 years. Of course, my back never felt better. Of course, now it's different. I sleep in a bed now, but it's just and so But in my book, I tell about my life, how I started collecting when I was 4. But later on in my book, I talk about each day in great detail about what they did and how
Mm-hmm.
they filmed everything. In fact, I even gave them a couple ideas for the filming. And back, it's kind of funny because they asked me a couple questions, and usually they got it usually in 1 or 2 takes. And I remember the director saying to me, "Goes, Greg, usually we have to tell people what to say because they don't know what to say." And he goes, "You seem to be a natural in front of this camera, and yet you don't stammer. You just know right quick what to say. How do you do it?" I said, "Well, with me, it's not just a weekend fancy at a toy shop." I said,
Nope.
"It's part of my life since I was 4." I said, "Don't you think in my mind I've rehearsed this in my mind all these years?"
Yep. Yep.
And the only time they only had to correct me one time when I said I was passionate about I Dream of Jeannie. They said, "Greg, you need to stop." They said, "Greg, say you're obsessive." I said, "Okay." So that they did it again, and I said the way they wanted me to. That's the only time
Oh,
they
TLC. You
ever say.
screwed up, TLC.
But like I said in the book, and of course, Barbara, she's like rest in peace, Dawn Wells, who just recently
Yeah.
passed. Barbara is very, very fan appreciative. When she gives you a hug,
She
you
gives you a
know.
hug. Right.
I mean, I don't. I mean, I've been with celebrities when they shake your hand, it's like this. It's like this. But when she embraced you, it wasn't just a fake hug. You know what fake hugs are like.
Fake
I'm a
handshakes, the dead fish.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm a hugger, and I like to give even men, women, kids, cats, dog. I'm a hugger, but with her, it was a genuine hug. And the week before I was to meet her, I went to a show, and my friend pointed out an autographed picture of Barbara and Larry that he wanted me to buy. I said, "Why should I pay $65 for an autograph when Barbara told the producer, tell Greg to bring whatever he wants me to sign, and I'll sign it?" Well, I didn't want to overload Barbara, but I took 8 things, hoping for just one thing. Well, she signed 8 things, and she said, "Is that it? Is that it?" And that's how it was when her book came out, and she
Yeah.
published that. I mean, she signed up, but she signed like 8 things,
It's
and
awesome.
I'd even made homemade what I call Greg's cheap animation cells, which a lot of people think I'm stupid, but hey, it worked.
Hey,
I'll,
listen. Again, listen. They can say whatever they want. This is your life, bro. If that's what you want to do.
I have COAs to prove that when I pass away, that my heirs or if anyone says, "Well, how do I know this signature for Barbara's legitimate?" Anyone who knows me knows that, hey, it was legitimate.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? Now this is proof. And we'll see if we can find some screenshots to put the TLC stuff in somewhere in here, which would be neat too. So
Like,
that's
you
what we'll
go
do.
on YouTube and look up Greg Cochrane, My Crazy Obsession, Greg Cochrane. They show like a 2-minute clip.
All right. Well, I'll put the link in the description. I'll put the link in the description, the YouTube for this episode. So we'll do that. So listen, Greg, I want to thank you for coming on. Happy New Year. Thank you for being guest 1 for episode 2. Very nice.
I was supposed to be on episode 1 of My Crazy Obsession, but I was guest 2 of season 2 of TLC's My Crazy
Nope.
Obsession. So
You got number 1 status on this one, bro. You're good to go. So you got a number 1 in. So we'll probably have to do a revisitation, especially when you get the house, to see how things are going.
And come on down, Mike. My Florida sunshine is good for the skin.
That's it. And my skin is radiant.
It's super.
It's super. So, folks, thank you for tuning in and watching Greg and I today. If you have a collection, or if you have a hobby that you are passionate about, hit me up. I would love to talk to you. I'd love to bring you on for, say it again, season 2. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe. The button is right down there. I know you all missed me pointing down there, but we're bringing it back, baby. Have a good one. It's free. Have a good one. Have a good 2021, folks. It's going to be a better year, I promise you. And we will talk soon. Take care.